Gun violence in Nelson Mandela Bay Metro continues to spiral out of control, with communities living in fear as gang-related shootings become more frequent. Gelvandale and Bethelsdorp are some of the hotspots. In the latest incident, 4 men were gunned down in what appears to be a revenge attack. A young woman, a bystander, was struck in the head by a stray bullet. Newzroom Afrika's Sipha Kema is on that story and joins us now live. Sipha, good morning and thank you for your time. Now, the murder rate in Nelson Mandela Bay had increased by a staggering 37% by March this year. It doesn't seem as though those numbers would be letting up anytime soon.
Well, definitely, Katlego, it is still a hotspot, not just in the province, but nationally, as the focus from the police minister, Senzo Mchunu, zeroes in on the Nelson Mandela Bay when it comes to gun violence. Now, most of these gun violence are gang-related. It's either retaliation or turf wars, but also innocent bystanders or those that happen to be with the said, gang members they become collateral damage in this fight. Now, the issue with gun violence, it seems as though in the Nelson Mandela Bay, majority of those shootings are from illegal firearms or firearms that can't be traced back to their owners. But I think let's bring in some of those who have become affected by the gun violence in the Nelson Mandela Bay, more especially in the northern areas. In Bethelsdorp, as you mentioned, is one of the hotspots when it comes to gun violence. And Katlego, just recently in August, we heard that week of the 15th, where 40 people in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro had been gunned down. Now, part of that 40 were 4 young men. One of them as young as actually being a teenager, from the ages of 15, 19, 21, and 26, who were tragically gunned down inside a house just 2 houses from here. Now, 2 of those, the 15-year-old and the 21-year-old, 22-year-old rather, are actually from this house, and we're going to talk to their mothers, who are sisters. The 2 were cousins, and we're going to bring in the first one. As you know, Katlego, it is very important that we hide their identity so that they don't become targets for speaking out, as most of people in the Nelson Mandela Bay are scared to speak out on such matters because they will eventually also become targets who spoke against what happened. We're going to bring in one of the ladies here, the mother to the 15-year-old. Tani, thank you so much for talking to us. I do understand it's very hard for you. Let's talk about first your son, your 15-year-old son, who he was. You don't have to name him so that we can keep him anonymous. When you say Namse, yeah.
Die 15-jarige Asien is my ene. Ek voel baie hartseer oor my seun. Wat geskied is, hy was nog onder ouderdom gewees. Ek weet nie, ek is die moeder van die 15 jaar seun. Ek weet nie hoekom hom geskied het nie. Hy word nou die 12de verjaar, ja, maak hy 16 as hy crown birthday. Ek was nog nie, tot hulle my gesê, hy maandag aan, die nacht wat ek kom sien, toe is het baie vir my. Nie, toe voel ek baie ongelukkig oor my seun wat geskied is. Hy was nou nie gang gewees nie. Ek weet nie hoekom en waarom hulle hom geskied het nie. Hy was onskuldig gewees. Ek is nou die ma. Ek voel net hartseer oor my seun wat geskied is.
So, Katlego, just to summarize before we go to the sister as well, she says she is the mother of the 15-year-old that was shot dead 2 houses from here. She wants to also make it clear that her son was not part of a gang. She's also still trying to understand why he was collateral damage in the shooting. And the police, as well as the community, is also trying to understand what could have happened, because as far as they're concerned, those young men that were shot there were not part of any gangs. Now, we're going to bring in her sister, who's the mother to the 22-year-old. Tani, wat het gebeur hier?
Ek bly nie hierso nie, ek bly in 35, ne? En toe die boodskap kom, ne? Toe kom ek mos nou, my hart, hy is geskiet. Dus ek my dochter, gaan jy maar nou, sa my hospitaal toe, gaan maar nou werk toe. Hy is op het materiaal nou werk. Hy het by my ma geblei, alle jaren, maar dan kom hy was al geslaan, al alles gedoen al. En toe kom hy so rustig, kom raak hy het gerook. En toe kom raak hy so rustig, en toe sê wat die Here hom kom neem. Maar ek sê so, dankie vir die Here vir dit. Want hy was 'n gangster, hy het met 'n kan geloop, hy het met 'n mes geloop. Ek gaan nie vra vir die Here hoekom sê, eendag gaan die Here vir my 'n question gee, dan kan ek hom antwoord op dit. Maar ek sê vir die dankie toe hom kom haal, deur die genade van die Here. Ek sê dankie vir dit.
En wat oor die gangeskied? As dit sleg in hierdie community?
Toe ek met my ma was zien, toen zat lelijke skitter en slander en alles aan. Ik weet hoe laat was het, maar toen hulle vir my roep met mijn man, toen zat die ogen met mijn man mee kom zijn. Maar toen ik kinders geskreeuwd en geskiet was, hulle sê dat was terrible, hulle het nog nooit so gunshots gehoor. Dat is die eerste keer en in een is 4 wat geskiet was.
4 jaar.
4 kinders.
En 4 kinders, ja.
En 1 huis geskiet. Dat was nou die tragisch. Wat ik nog ooit tegenkom het in die Ooskapen.
En nou in Bethelsdorp, ja, in Bethelsdorp is geskiet, is het sleg? Kan geskiet. Is het sleg in Bethelsdorp?
Ja, is baie sleg. Is baie sleg vir my. Toe ek ook aan was kom, toe my ma my kom roep ek bly op die vlak. Maar my seentjie het meeste hier by die huis gebly. Nee, toe my ma my kom sê die boodskap kom gee. Toe sê hulle vir my pa siek. Toe sê ek vir hulle, julle bring vir my 'n tyding. Toe staan ons op, toe kom ons, toe ek nou sien hier, toe sien ek nou die speler sê so en die klompe mense hier by die huis waar my seentjie geskiet is. Toe ek nou aankom, toe sien ek die forensies aan. Toe hulle die tweeetjies uitbring, toe sien ek is my ene. Toe kan ek net aan hom vat as al.
I'm so sorry about what happened. Ek is jammer. I mean, Katlego, it's really tragic. Just to summarize what they'd said with getting the message, where they said they received messages about the shootings and what had happened. But the main thing is that they're trying to still make sense of it and understand why their children were shot in that house, because as far as they know, their children are not part of any gangs. So they still need to determine what exactly happened inside that house for the people that came in and shot. Now, it's said also just outside that house, Katlego, as the shooters left, they allegedly shot up in the air, and that's when one of those bullets actually went and landed on a bystander, and the bystander was shot in the head. And next we'll be talking to her mother so that she can tell us, of course, what exactly happened and what she was told had happened. And you can just imagine losing your child to gun violence, but much more heartbreaking, a stray bullet unexpectedly hitting your child and finding yourself having to bury your child. It really is sad, but we'll continue with the story. But also, we're going to speak to the MMC of Community Safety in the Nelson Mandela Bay to find out how exactly they're working together with SAPS to keep the streets clean. We do know that on the 16th of August, the Minister of Police, Nelson Mandela, had given extra, boots on the ground in the Nelson Mandela Bay for the extortions, but also the gang-related violence. But as we were driving, although we've seen in the townships a few of the vehicles patrolling the area, but in the northern areas, since we have been here and worked in this area since, we have not seen police visibility. It's still the same, which is still an issue for these communities that have to deal with this gun violence every single day.
All right, Sipha Kema, certainly very harrowing accounts of those parents having to lose young loved ones at the hands of violence. We certainly do hope that you will be able to speak to that MEC and just seeing what some of the solutions are for that region. Thank you so much for that update. That's Sipha Kema out in the Eastern Cape.